today we're gonna work on building a enclosure box for my new CNC router. And what this is gonna do is it will prevent the dust, it will prevent the noise, and then also give me a safe place to kind of watch and monitor it, and then have plexiglass to kind of protect me if anything were to break or fly off. So what I'd already done is went to the store and I bought some of the components I'm gonna need today. And I'm gonna do the very basic shell. That's all I'm gonna do today. So this was a 4x8 sheet of 3/4 maple ply. And then I have the acrylic sheet I'll be using. Here's the brand. So it's 24 inches by 40 inch, and it's 220 as far as the thickness. So this should be plenty thick for sound and then strength. So over here, I'm keeping this video very basic with as far as editing and not using screenshot and stuff like that, but this was the sheet I made up really quick when I went to Lowe's, so I could have everything kind of cut out. So what I had them do, since I'm not off my truck anymore, I had them cut all these pieces ahead of time, and I had them cut it 1/4 inch longer than what I need to make sure that I can come back and clean it up myself. So same thing with the acrylic sheet. I pre-mapped everything out, so I'll go ahead and cut that down, and I'll insert these into the door panels and side panels, and then I have all my parts laid out as well to get the most out of the sheet. So today we'll just do the basic shell. I won't do any of the slides, so that way I can just get this thing rolling and making some good parts off it. So that's what we'll be doing today. So now I have kind of the design in play. Enough of the blabbering. Let's go ahead and go to the garage. All right, food for thought. When you are cutting acrylic, it turns into molten lava. And don't do this while wearing a tank top, because then you will burn your skin. So we have our 2 pieces here that are good as they are. And then this is our 11 1/4 piece. But this is not done, it needs to be 1875 this way. So I'll readjust the fence, we'll make one more pass on these 2, and then we'll be done and we can move to the plywood. So there's our scrap. Maybe we'll make a door on the top or something, I don't know. But this actually folds away, and the cut is actually really clean. There was no cracking at all. So that worked out pretty good. So this. Now I'm gonna double check my measurements now with real life inlays. And then I'm gonna come back to here, and then I'm gonna check out my parts layout, make sure everything's all good to go, and then we'll start busting out that 3/4. Before I cut these, I'll just take an orbital sander and just go over the corner, so that way nothing's up against the fence and gives my measurements all false readings and whatnot. So I'll do that really quick, and then I'll come back and cut. Looks like, according to our plans, the top, bottom, and back, there's no plexiglass, so I'm gonna go ahead and just cut those to size, and then we'll come back and on the last and the leftover sheets, then we'll break down all these side panels just to double check our measurements. Alright, so my table saw fence does not go as long as I need it to go on this cut, so we will do it on the circular saw. So I'm just gonna mark off my 33.5. Okay, so since I'm freehanding, when I say freehanding, I'm just gonna use a circular saw. So I have a fence here. I have this fence exactly set to where my blade is on the right side of the line. So to make this simple, because I have 3 pieces that I gotta cut all the same way, is I took the tape measure and measured this side, which I got this side good. So it was 28 7/8, and this minus symbol just means I'm just shy of the line. That's just my way of kind of doing it really quick. And then I go to this side and just match it up exactly 28 7/8 minus. So, with this clamp down, now I could ride my circular saw against this guide. And with this measurement exact, is I don't have to remeasure this line out the next board. I could just immediately put this from here at the 28 7/8 marks, and then that way I can make them all exact. So I'll go ahead and cut them all out right now. Perfect, so got that good. Now you want to hold this piece because we're making more cuts off this board, so I didn't want it to get damaged, so I got to hold it down. So now that that step's done, basically just going to rinse and repeat that for the other 2 boards. Got it all mapped out. We're going to be perfect on extra material. This section right here is going to be what's left over, so I'm going to save this. I'm going to cut this down into those little door handles on the front cabinet doors. But we have a rough line. I just measure from here and then I give myself a 100th gap in between, roughly, just for my blade width. But then I know, so these are my vertical pieces for the door. Then I have the horizontal pieces, I have the side pieces. But this helps me kind of look at the board and see what's going to be like my easiest cut. So all of these are 4 inches wide. So I'm going to rip these all down 4 inches, and then I'll come back on the miter saw and I'll just cut them to length. Basically all the boards will be that same concept. Like these are all 3 inch and 3/8, and then I might actually cut this one this way first to hold this piece as a nice good scrap piece, and then I'll cut them to strips. And then these ones are the side pieces that, again, I'll cut this at 6 inches wide, and then this little piece on the end is what's extra. So making this a little bit easier for myself, and now they're already all labeled, so when I do cut them off I know what they're supposed to go to. So we'll just hop to it, and then from there out we'll lay it all out, and then we'll start making the grooves for the plexiglass. So we got all of our parts laid out. So here would be the front door and then the side pieces. So the plexiglass that we cut out, go right over here. Now if this was up to me, I would have more, I would like an inch overhang, but to buy the sheet I bought, but being 2 foot by 4 foot, this is just what I have to work with. So as you see, as far as the height, I'm plenty overlap on the height. But this one looked good all around. So I've been debating to myself, because I'm just debating on doing the routing or the groove on the inside. I'm going back to the idea of just putting it in like this and then just screwing it in place with a small nice screw. I have enough that it shouldn't crack. The reason I'm changing my mind is, for whatever reason, I mean this is pretty thick stuff, but for whatever reason a bit breaks or I don't know, it gets damaged. I like the idea that I could easily just replace it without having to dismantle the door and then all that mess. So I'll just leave it like this. The only thing to think about now is I'll finish the wood as far as clear coating it and then put this on so that we don't see two weird borders, but it should be good. Then I was thinking, if this isn't good, if I don't want to screw down into this and risk cracking this, I could take a piece of wood and basically try to give you the illusion, but I could basically cap it in like this and then screw this down and pinch it down. But shouldn't be too big of a deal. The size should be enough. But what else? I think I'm gonna put the camera down and just get going. So for the assembly of this, you could either just pocket hole these together, which I think I'm going to do. And if you want an added bonus, you could add a biscuit, which is this little puppy here. So that would just go in between. So I think I might just do that. I already have all my stuff set up from a previous project, so I'll just biscuit the joints real quick with my little biscuit joiner, which is already set to 3/4, so it should be ready just to go. And then pocket hole, and then once the frames are built and done, I'll just shoot them with, or sand them, and I'll just shoot them with clear coat. But let's go. Alright, the biscuits installed. So now I'm just gonna relay this out, and I had numbered my boards so I can put them back exactly how they were. So what you want to do, there's always a better side to the plywood. So this side is pretty good, so I might look at the back side. But the reason you want to do this is, if you're putting pocket holes, you want to choose the side that's worse. Like that's a good example. See, that's tear out. I wasn't able to clean it from when I bought it from Lowe's because their blade was like horrible. So this will be the back side. So knowing that I want that to be the back side, I'll go and just flip this one over, and I'll just flip all these pieces. So this piece will come over here, this piece goes like that. So now when I retrace this out, the biscuits still line up because it's on the same plane. But now when I do my pocket holes, again, this could be the ugly side that no one sees. So I'll do that to all of them. I'll find the better side, and then from this point it's plywood, so you're going into end grain no matter what direction you go. So it's just my preference. I'm gonna do the pocket holes on the vertical style part of it, and if you wanted to, you can come down, but I like sucking it like this. If I could analogize, or what's the word I'm trying to think of, the analogy, the thought process is, if you had two pocket holes going like this, you're biting towards this, which is not bad. I like the idea of taking this piece as the center, like your core, and I'm pulling everything to the core, not crushing it. So like, here's my core, here's the screws, I'm pulling it in this way, and then the screws are like this, so that I'm pushing it in like that, making a nice tight frame. It might not matter, but That's what I'm gonna do. So I'll go and put this up, and then I'll get going on the pocket hole. I'll go ahead and from here, the supplies we're going to use, just glue. If you have a clamp, that helps you out pretty good to get a clamp, like one of these, where it goes inside the pocket hole and you can get the joint really nice and tight. This might not go big enough though for what I'm doing. So you could always just use a regular clamp like this. Both these will probably work. So I'll go ahead and start putting together the doors and keep this party going. Alright, all done with that. I was kind of going really quick with it, so let's come back when this glue dries and sand it down, and then we're ready to put the acrylic on it. So we'll continue this tomorrow. Later.